What is good, OD fam, and welcome back. We have some more Gotham Knights content, and today I'm going to be giving my final ranking for all the Gotham Knights. This video was requested by a couple of my new subscribers in the comment sections, so as a show of appreciation for all you guys, I'm going to break down all the characters and let you guys know who's my personal favorite based on popularity and also where they rank overall in the game. So if you have been enjoying all the Gotham Knights content and want to stay up to date with all the videos, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get it. So this debate has been all over the place since the game's initial release way back in October, and today, based on my opinion, we're going to finally put it to rest. I'm going to be giving you guys two different rankings, the first being based on popularity, meaning which character I like more in terms of backstory or their history in the comics compared to how they are portrayed in the actual game. And then the final list will be totally based on who I think is more powerful or who is the overall best character in the game. Now, most of you guys should already know who my favorite character is. I've been calling this character the GOAT since day one, so taking my number one spot is none other than the GOAT of all sidekicks, Robin. Robin has always been the character that I connected the most with when it comes to gameplay. He is 100% the master of all elemental effects. He is top tier when it comes to stealth, and in terms of range combat, he may not be the best, but his skills can definitely get the job done. And when you couple all of that with him being the flashiest character in the game, with the sickest animations, I mean, there is no doubt for me who I enjoy playing the most. Now, funny thing is, Robin was getting so much disrespect when the game first came out, with most people ranking him last on their list, but in my opinion, there is no chance he is the worst character in the game. But one minor drawback for me was his comics history or backstory, and it's not that I don't like the Tim Drake version of Robin, I just haven't seen or read much about the actual character. Gotham Knights does a great job of capturing the character of Tim Drake / Robin, and when you couple that with everything I already mentioned, it should be easy to see why I consider Robin number one. Taking my number two spot, and the biggest surprise for me on this list, is Batgirl. Now when I say biggest surprise, that is in no way implying any disrespect towards Batgirl or Batgirl mains. I just didn't foresee this character being number two considering all the heavy hitters in Gotham Knights. But Batgirl is good absolutely everywhere. I'm talking damage potential, stealth, hacking, range combat, 1v1 combat. There is just no scenario in the entire game where Batgirl doesn't excel, and that's not even mentioning what I think is her biggest asset, which is survivability. With her second wind ability, Batgirl pretty much becomes unkillable, as she can revive herself not once but 2 times once fully upgraded. There's no other character in the game that can even come close to a skill set like that. Batgirl also has the added benefit of being the closest thing to Batman that we have in the game, so anyone who wants that nostalgia of playing like Batman in the Gotham Knights universe, this is definitely the character you want to roll with. She has a ton of the exact same abilities from the Arkham series, and tying all of that into the Barbara Gordon backstory with the Joker and her being Oracle for the Bat family throughout her comics history, it's easy to see why Batgirl takes the number 2 spot. Moving on to our number 3 spot, and if number 2 was the biggest surprise of my list, number 3 was definitely the most challenging. Red Hood takes this spot for me, and for the most part is because he is totally unmatched when it comes to range combat. Red Hood is so far ahead of every other character in the game at range that range combat alone cements his number 3 ranking. Whether it's precision aim or quick fire, there's no denying the devs did a great job capturing what Red Hood is all about. And the only reason he is not higher on this list for me is because as good as he is at range, he is just as bad in close quarters. His melee combat is pretty much non-existent, and even though I really enjoy his throwing capabilities and I'm a huge fan of his comic backstory, those things alone are not enough to get him higher on my list. And finally, for the saddest part of the video, someone has to be last, and taking my number 4 spot is Nightwing. Now, I've tried to figure this out so many times since the game's release, and I actually do enjoy playing Nightwing sometimes. But for me, something just feels very off. Nightwing has so many advantages and skills in the game that include damage potential, mobility, momentum generation, and co-op buffs, but for some reason, it just doesn't all come together like it does for other characters. Robin is the master of the elements. Batgirl definitely excels at survivability and 1v1 combat, and no one even comes close to Red Hood at range, but there is just no one thing or skill set that Nightwing does better than any other character. In my opinion, Nightwing is best suited for continued and consistent use of his momentum abilities, and the fact that I really don't enjoy or like any of those set abilities, or even the fact that he is my favorite Robin of all time, nothing can save him from being last on my list. But now I want to go ahead and switch to our second list, where I rank each character based on where they stand overall in the game. This time we're going to start at the bottom, and I know this will probably upset a few people, but taking my number 4 spot is none other than everyone's favorite character, Red Hood. Now listen guys, I already know what you're thinking. Every ranking or favorite character video you've seen up to this point has always placed Red Hood as the best character in the game. But for me, this ranking is very simple. Red Hood only excels at one thing in the entire game, and that's ranged combat. Think about it. His melee combat is pretty much non-existent. He really isn't designed or suited for stealth, as even the devs have admitted he's the tank of the entire group. And even survivability. I mean, sure, he has really good throwing techniques, but ultimately, these same techniques just make him a stationary target for taking extra damage. So overall for me, the fact that Red Hood only excels at range is the reason why he's at the bottom of my overall list. Coming in at number 3, we have Nightwing, and honestly, I really feel like he deserves to be higher on this list, as I do feel like he is the best character in the game when it comes to co-op play. But with co-op being such an inconsistent experience when it comes to lag issues or the lingering 30 FPS issues, I really don't feel that co-op is the best way to enjoy the game. So for that reason, and because these next two characters are better in my opinion, Nightwing is going to stay at number 3. Taking my number 2 spot is my favorite character, Robin, and I know this might be a surprise considering how much I'm always hyping up Robin as being the GOAT, but I gotta keep it real, and Robin does have some flaws. Even though he is the master of the elements and stealth gameplay, he does lack in the raw damage department, and his survivability can sometimes be an issue. So even though he's my favorite character, he is not my pick for the overall best character in the game. And taking my number 1 spot, yes, in my opinion, Batgirl is the best Gotham Knight, and it's for all the reasons I already mentioned. Main one being that she is top tier in any and every category of the game, and there's no scenario where running Batgirl is a disadvantage. And with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree or disagree with my picks? I have a ton of hours invested in this game, and I really want to know if you guys have some of the same feels regarding these characters. We are still in a very dark place at the moment when it comes to what's next for Gotham Knights. There hasn't been so much as a peep from the devs since the release of Heroic Assault regarding what, if anything, is next for the game. So if you're like me and you're still enjoying the game and want to stay up to date with my content and all things Gotham Knights, then don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to join the OD family. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.